I didn't recognize you.
I'm here in Reading outside the EPA Air Quality Office. DEP, yes, DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. And there are 8 people here with signs about fracking and environmental issues here on Earth Day. Karen Feridun, you're the head of Berks Gas Truth. Why did you organize this today?
Well, today is Earth Day, so we wanted to observe Earth Day by bringing attention not just to the issues of fracking that affect all of us in the state and around the country and around the world, but things that are happening specifically in Berks County need attention. We are becoming a gas hub. We have a number of pipeline projects. A lot of people found out way after the fact about the compressor station incident we had during Hurricane Sandy that received very little attention at the time. The company ultimately was only fined $15,000, so they really didn't get much of a penalty once it was brought to everyone's attention. And now the big issue is the natural gas power plant and GTL facility that they're talking about putting in South Heidelberg. That one brings with it 2 different pipelines. It would be a spur of the Texas Eastern, a 7-mile spur, and that's an interstate pipeline. And that would allow for things like eminent domain and the exemption of local control. And then the other pipeline that would take the product away is the hazardous liquids pipeline that would be run by Sunoco, and it's called Mariner East. And that one, they're petitioning the PUC to get that same status so that they can also have eminent domain and exempt local control.
Talk some about the compressor station incident you mentioned during Hurricane Sandy. People don't really know about that.
No.
What happened?
So during Hurricane Sandy, there was a valve malfunction. A valve failed to re-engage properly. And it was during a hurricane, so it was unstaffed. There was nobody there. So when this happened, there was a lot of emissions. There were 61 tons of VOCs emitted and 174 million cubic feet of natural gas emitted within the space of minutes. And at the time, the neighbors were jolted out of their beds by the sound of the thing. They called the company, they called the DEP, they got no response, so they contacted me. I contacted the DEP. They told me what the numbers reported were, which was 0.41 tons of VOCs and 3/4 of a million cubic feet of natural gas. And after I asked them to investigate, and they did, they found out that the first numbers I gave you, the 61 tons and 174, were the real numbers. And so they were actually angry that the company had underreported things so badly. But what they did tell me at the time was that if those numbers had been correct, they probably wouldn't have fined them or done anything because those would be in line with what they regularly discharge. So that's what people need to understand, that even if it's not a big accident, they are still being exposed to volatile organic compounds and methane on a regular basis because that's part of how compressor stations operate. And so after they did the investigation, they finally fined the company, like I said, $15,000, but there was no permit violation because there's no maximum limit in the permit, so you can't violate it. Even though they admitted that they released more than they should in a year, there's no upper limit that they can violate.
That's a shame. Talk about the proposed plant in South Heidelberg Township. There's a lot of community opposition to this.
Yes, it's been fantastic. It's the gas to liquids facility that Emberclear wants to build. Emberclear is a company in Canada that really is in the business of building the facilities, and then they look for partners to operate the facilities. But they're incredibly expensive to build and to operate. And so they really need to have a partner to make this work. They're talking about putting it on 63 acres of farmland that is surrounded by homes. It's across the street from a daycare center. And what they want to do in this place is use high pressure and high temperatures to turn gas, natural gas, into a liquid form. They want to make gasoline and propane. And the problem with that is that there are any number of risks, again, on a daily basis because of what's emitted, but also there's the risk of a catastrophic event. And that is very concerning to the people who looked at what happened in Washington State a couple of weeks ago when an LNG facility, a liquefied natural gas facility, blew up, and they had to evacuate a perimeter of 2 miles around that plant. People live well within 2 miles. And so this is a controversial project. It's never been done in the United States. This would be the first one. There are only 5 of these in the world. And so there's plenty that the DEP and the state government and everybody at the county level and the local level who have been promoting this don't know about this. And it really shouldn't be coming into a neighborhood where they don't even understand what the implications are going to be.
South Heidelberg Township is a very conservative area of Berks County, a very Republican voting area. But these people now are being motivated due to these environmental concerns. Do you find any irony in that?
Well, no, not really, because I work on the fracking issue, the larger fracking issue, every day, 24 hours a day. And I can tell you that it is not partisan.
Okay.
As much as, our leaders are divided by party lines about some of these things, at the local level where these people are being infected, this is not partisan.
Yeah.
People see what's happening to their properties. They're losing property value. They're losing, they're losing their health. They're losing their water. And so they're very, very concerned when it comes close to them. And what's so smart about what they're doing in South Heidelberg is they're not saying it's NIMBY, it's not my backyard,
Right.
It's our backyards. They don't want it in their community. And that's exactly how they should be fighting it. It's not something for their community.
Essentially, this is a zoning issue, and it's really difficult to beat these things on a local level. Simply because if the zoning kind of allows that, it's really hard to oppose and obstruct a project like this. So what's the strategy?
Well, there are a number of strategies that they're working on simultaneously, which is also smart, because there are a lot of them. There are hundreds of people who are working on this within their community. And so one of the things that they're challenging is that zoning overlay.
Okay.
So that piece of property had always been zoned light industrial. Back in November, some neighbors, not all, not even the daycare center across the street, received letters saying that there was going to be some change to the zoning. They saw a notice in the public paper, in the Reading paper, if they happened to spot it, saying that there was going to be something happening. But honestly, the people who even saw it didn't understand what they were looking at. And so in November, there was this overlay done by the joint zoning board. A lot of the things in Berks County operate on a joint basis. So it's 3 municipalities involved who unanimously decided to allow for this overlay that turns that property into something that can handle heavy industrial for gas specifically, period. It's for that project. The people are challenging that because they didn't know what was happening, they didn't see it coming, and by the time that overlay had occurred, when the zoning board met about a month and a half ago now, it was already on the books, so it was all legal. There was nothing to really fight at the time. But the fact that people didn't know about it in November is an issue. But there are also the big environmental concerns, like I mentioned. They don't get to build the thing just because they got it zoned. They have to demonstrate that they can build it safely and that they can operate it safely in a community that close to a facility that, again, could blow up. So, there are a lot of environmental standards that need to be met. That's why we're really urging today for the DEP to get serious about this project and be all over them on this one, because it is not something that has ever been tried in this country. There is no environmental assessment to go by because it's never been done here.
Have you had any response from anyone in the DEP office here?
Not yet today, but we just got here. We're going to go
Okay.
say hi.
All right. No one's come out to greet you or
No.
talk to you yet?
No.
Do
not
they
yet.
know you're here?
I'm pretty sure they know we're here.
Okay.
Here's one now.
Yeah, that one knows we're here.
Yeah, he's
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.